That's what you're looking for. So, an example is oftentimes creationists will often say that there's gaps in this fossil record. Yeah, there's some gaps. The scientists will admit it. But where does the preponderance of the information, where does the preponderance of the evidence lead to? All the other fossils, the dating, the genetics, all that stuff. That's preponderance of evidence. Where does it point? Is the claimant playing by the rules of science? A lot of them, particularly alternative medicine people, are fond of saying this is scientifically based. And so they use a lot of science words, but it's not science-based, it's pseudoscience. Example is the ufologists, you know. It's pseudoscience. Another example, let's say Bigfoot. Yeah, there may be a big upright walking ape walking around in the northwest United States and Canada, and they'll say, well, but he's very shy, there's not too many of them, you know, and all this kind of other stuff. Well, in science, no, the rules is you gotta show me a type specimen. Bring me a body. You gotta have the evidence. It's not enough to have. Here's the thing by mean that you've got to bring the body. The ufologists, you know, they show all kinds of negative evidence, but they show pictures, and it's been shown that you can doctor pictures, and a lot of these people, when they go back and they look at the pictures, you can tell that they were a hubcap that somebody threw in the air. Okay? So, but what would really clinch it is if they actually found a spaceship crash somewhere and that was looked at by other people. A lot of times what they'll say is, well, they buried the aliens, or it's all hidden in Area 51. Yeah, right.
They like to claim absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. However, if the evidence should be there, then that's a claim, that's a datum in itself. If if flying saucers, if space aliens are visiting us, then, and they have documented this, where is the evidence?
Yeah.
So evidence of absence is not, absence, other way around, is not necessarily the rule that they follow that provides evidence for their claims.
True. You gotta have positive evidence, not just negative. The ninth one. A lot of times people will come up with a theory and they think it's a real nice theory to explain something, but the theory's also got to explain everything else around it. Okay, Michael Shermer uses the idea is that at Skeptic Society in California, they get all kinds of things, where there's single space type theories of new physical theories, laws of physics. But it's also got to explain quantum mechanics. It's got to claim Newtonian gravity. It's got to explain, you name it, it's got to all fit in there. And most of the time, in fact all the time according to Michael Shermer, they don't do that. So it's got to fit with everything. And they said, well, Einstein came up with something, threw out Newton's laws. No. Einstein's law of relativity, you solve the problems, actually will get in a specific criteria for our size and speed, will yield Newtonian laws. So it fits. The other one are personal beliefs driving it. A lot of times personal beliefs are actually driving a lot of these claims.
All of the times.
Can be all the time, but a lot of times it is. Or they want to be just heretics for heretics' sake. Good example of that's New Age people. The New Age people, if they think that mental telepathy is real, they'll buy Uri Gehrer's bending of spoons, and they'll buy the whole schmear, the whole thing. They'll buy the whole thing. They want to believe in mystical magic, and so they'll believe anything that they're told. Okay? Those are personal beliefs. We see that in medicine a lot, in alternative medicine people. For example, I'll bring up my favorite one, chiropractors. Chiropractors actually believe, and I sincerely believe that they do actually believe, that their adjusting of the back will help earaches, seizures, asthma. I remember when I was when I was an intern, I had several people come in that were in diabetic ketoacidosis because the chiropractor told me he didn't need to take his insulin anymore. It was a belief that was driving this. Okay? Have they actually done the studies to see if this is true? No. None of that exists in chiropractic literature. Plus, you got to realize how chiropractic started. Palmer, who happened to live in Iowa, sold magnets for different things. He was a alternative medicine guy back then, and then his son took over and expanded it even more. So it has doubtful beginnings in the first place. That's chiropractic. It's belief driven.
Although relevant to what you said earlier, they do use the language of science. They talk about the theory
True.
of subluxations and things like that. They use the language of science without using the procedures.
True. In fact, every chiropractor I know of, if they always took x-rays, one, they make money at it, and they'll say the spine is out of alignment. Well, to me, if your spine's out of alignment, you got a broken back. And they've actually done studies to see how much force would it take to actually pop a vertebrae, move it. They've actually done experiments with that, with cadavers. The amount of force would literally break a back. That's how much force is used. So that's been done. Famous skeptics. Who knows this person?
James Randi.
Yeah, this is James Randi. He's a magician, escape artist. He has something called the James Randi Foundation. He has $1 million challenge to anybody that can actually prove some psychic event or paranormal event. Nobody's won it in the past 20, 25 years.
Almost longer than that.
Yeah, has it been longer than
It's
that?
back to the 70s.
Started with $1,000.
Started with 1,000? Okay. Well, he's had this. I mean, I've seen dowsers have tried to win this, or he set up experiments where he had actually hid water in barrels underground, and they had to go around and see if they could pick it up. Perfectly controlled. Now, one of them got it, but you ask the dowsers if they believe their powers in, and they all still believe, yeah, I hit it 100%. You can show them, no, they didn't. Doesn't make any difference. A person's beliefs can be so strong that no amount of evidence will actually sway them. That's one problem. James Randi, great guy. He has something called the Amazing Meeting every year. He had one just this year in England. There's one in Las Vegas every year. I'm hoping to go to one of them. It'd be fun to go see.
Do I read that right? He got a Genius Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MacArthur Foundation, that's a
Yeah.
Genius Grant, right?
Pro Bowl, yeah. Oh, the other thing that's interesting about James Randi, he's had physicists, for example, Uri Geller. Remember this? Uri Geller actually convinced the physicists that he could do this, bend the spoon. Well, magicians know how this is done. So a lot of times trained scientists, they're not really looking at being fooled. So you can fool a trained scientist, but a magician knows how to pick it out because he knows how to fool people.